super happy to have you today on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This is so fun.
It is fun. I love, you know me. I love this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this has been in the making for a while too.
Okay.
Because like obviously we've interacted a lot together, and so happy to finally have you on the show.
How long does it take? Because I want to start mine. I've been trying to start my podcast for, I don't know, way too long.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since I've been doing this for maybe 2 months, 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So-
Okay.
What?
So really not that long.
Yeah,
I'm
not that
just-
long at
okay.
all. But we've had like maybe 12 to 15 agents on or something.
Already?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good for you.
So
That's so cool.
Yeah, like I don't know how much I told you, but the show or like the show.
The
Made
show.
it sound like it's a show.
Podcast for shows.
Is just supposed to be going over what are the best agents doing?
Oh, okay.
Like the
So what-
bold 1%.
What am I doing here?
And because the thought is this too, is like agents, like there's a lot of like agents that are doing really well,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes, or a lot of times it's just because they've been in the industry for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So how do you be in the industry, but still be like bold and make moves and, make a difference instead of just like wait out your time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So that's what this is about. That's what we're going to explain today.
Okay.
Today's episode is results and resolutions, which is what we'll go over today.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
by the
Year.
way.
I know it was
so cool.
It was supposed to be before the new year.
Oh, really?
But we know nothing gets done.
Oh, no, absolutely not. This is
Yeah.
my first day back at work in like 2 weeks.
It feels weird.
It feels
right?
so
I feel like I forgot
so
how to
good.
work.
I know, but so good at the same time.
You like it.
I love it. Gosh.
She likes it.
I love it. Like the holidays, thank God the holidays are over because I'm over it.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, wait, we should just dive into that first. Like, what does that even mean?
Just like I love working. So when I'm not working and the last 2 weeks of the month, I usually just kind of wild out and let loose and not give a crap about anything.
Uh-huh.
And then it gets to a point where I'm like, hey, this isn't really who I am.
Yeah.
Like this was fun, but like, Mom, can you come pick me up? Like this is crazy. Why am I still here?
And it lasts a while.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't it feel like it lasts forever?
I feel like it was like legit the last 2 weeks of December.
Just dragged on.
We're just like nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing
like,
happened.
Just nothing at all. Just like,
You're like, what did I even do?
empty bliss, or what do you would call that? Just like the empty
Yes.
emptiness
Yes.
of whatever. You know what I mean?
So yeah, really interesting to see how that's how it is this season. And I think because, me and you both have a similar career where you make your own hours.
Mm-hmm.
You get in this mindset where you always have to be working.
Yeah.
And like you it's almost like a drug.
Oh yeah.
In a way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you get kind of addicted to like working
Mm-hmm.
and progressing, and it's a game in a way that you choose how fast you go.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you get time off or almost forced to take a break, because like if you could have made another 3 or 4 transactions the last 2 weeks, you would have done it.
I absolutely.
Even though it's
yeah.
Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was still answering calls.
Santa's working, you're working.
Seriously.
You know what I mean? But because of the emotional side of real estate,
Yeah.
and like I don't know what else you would maybe put it on, but 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of December, I don't think a lot of people are thinking about it as much.
Not as much, and that's like
So how do you? This is the first question.
okay. The first question here. We
So
go.
how do you manage these 2 weeks? Because obviously it's like
I didn't like it all.
okay, I'm just kidding. Cut. I'm just kidding.
Well, previous year. So I've been in the industry 12 years.
Yeah.
Right. So like
Whoa,
me taking.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dang.
12
That's
years.
one of the highest we've interviewed.
12 and a half, I guess now. Almost 13.
You have to start counting halves.
Oh my gosh, I know, huh? 12 and 3/4. So for me taking 2 weeks off is just needed. But before, if you're trying to drum up business, like the last thing you want to do in December is not work, because then your first quarter is going to be,
Trash.
yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Okay, well, and I'm not calling you out, by the way.
Okay, here he's about to call me out. That's what that means.
No. But I'm curious to know, like, because I think you did nothing, but you still did something.
I did. I had a closing. Wrote a contract. I did a.
Yes.
I
yes.
still did stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I was getting to.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
Another one is, what is the most meaningful goal you've ever made, or resolution, whatever you want to name it?
I was thinking about this one, and it's not real estate related, but prepping for my fight.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wait. Roll the clips. Maybe we should just like
oh
put
my
some
gosh, that'd be
clips.
so cool. Can we?
We should roll the clips.
Roll the clips. No, it was so cool. So Tony hit me up and was like, hey, do you want to fight? And I was like, sure. Like, okay, I've been boxing for a long time. And he's like, yeah, I have an event coming up. Like, let's put you on. And I was like, okay. And I'm thinking like it's not going to happen. I'm just thinking like, you know, a lot of things fall through all the time.
Yeah.
And he's like, we found you an opponent. And I was like, oh my God, really? That's so cool. Let's do this. And then the back of my head, I'm like, this is just not going to, I'm like getting my hands wrapped before my fight. And I look at my coach and I'm like, why are you wrapping my hands? Like, am I really going to go out here and do this? And he's like, Karina, like focus. And so, yeah, I went out, what everybody told me, what everyone said that once that I was there, I would snap out of it because I was so nervous. I was in my head, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, Karina, once you get there, it's all going to go away. And I was like, yeah, of course you're going to say that. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to tell me, like, you're going to throw up and then you're not going to fight. You know? But that's exactly what happened. When I heard my name get called by Tony and it was like, Karina Perez, it was like, zoom, like just.
What?
Yeah, tunnel vision. I get in the ring, I see the girl, and yeah. I did.
It was just time to go.
Time to go. And
So it's like fight or flight, and you just
I
fight.
fought. Oh,
you
yeah.
fought your heart out, girl.
Like, no, like disrespect to her because she was awesome, but like I did kick some ass, so it was cool.
Let's freaking
but
go.
What I learned was like the power of visualizations. Wow, words. I visualized when I was driving in the shower, whenever I wasn't thinking about something, I was picturing myself and what I wanted to do, what combos I wanted to throw, how I wanted to move my feet, what I was gonna do, and it was crazy, and that's exactly what I did.
Oh my gosh.
So setting that
is
goal,
crazy.
I know, the discipline that I was in is kind of embarrassing to myself now because I have it in me. So it's like now I can't. My coach actually were talking about it, and it's not that I'm scared of failure. I'm scared of success. Because then you
Interesting. What does that mean?
Then you're on a new level. You can't go back to how you were.
Whoa.
I taught myself discipline. I taught myself that I can do it, and then I did it. So how am I supposed to go back now?
I'm shocked.
You
I'm
know
blown
what I
away.
mean?
That is one of the most like profound things I've heard
Yeah.
in a while.
Yeah, it was, and that's, yeah. So now they're like, are you going to take another fight? And I'm like, how do I say no now? You know what I mean? Like, I have to keep progressing.
So fighting Corinna, is that like a thing we can look forward to in 2025?
Maybe.
Like a fighter? Like not even just like did a fight, but like straight up like.
I guess that's true, right? I can't just do like a one and be considered a boxer. Like I have to, but I'm also getting old in these knees. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. Wait, so let's just like quickly pivot. You've been in the industry 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years. What does that look like?
I didn't know this until recently, like in the last couple weeks. I'm not an entrepreneur. I have ADHD and I cannot sit still to save my life. And that translates into entrepreneurship because yes, I've done real estate. That's been the base of what I've done for 12 years. But if you look back, I've wrote and published books. I have done weight loss products. I've done property management in between. I've done so many things. I started a cleaning company last year. Now I have a clothing brand, and that might look like, wow, she wants to be like a businesswoman. And I'm like, no, I can't sit still. I need to be creating. Like for me, creating is something that I'm so passionate about. Whatever, if I can create something, think about something, and then have it happen. Like when I held my books in my hand and all the work that went into it, and then it was like, here's like an actual physical copy or
of a book
what I
you
thought.
created.
Yeah.
Like it went from an idea to a reality.
Just like the fight. It was an idea of my mind of winning and what I was going to do. And then holding up that belt was like, wow, I did it. I did it.
Okay. So this question is quite literally the best question then, just based on everything that you just said, is what does one more year in real estate look like? Because 2025 is here.
Yeah, it is.
What, like for you, what's next? Skydiving, swimming with sharks? Like what the hell's gonna happen next?
Somebody did ask you, like, what do you want to be now? Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, like you're like author, real estate agent, freaking fighter.
Yeah.
So really though, like where do you see this going? Because you have so many passions. What does 2025 look like?
You know, this is going to be, I'm calling it my soft girl boss era.
Okay, walk me through every single word of that. Because I'm sure it's intentional, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And that's what it leads down to is I'm now leading with intention, 100%. Like I've been such in fight or flight all my life. I'm a single mom for 12 years.
Yeah.
So my entire career, I've also been a single mom. And I don't mean single woman, I mean single mom. Like the help I've had is very little.
Wow.
But now I'm ready to just kind of sit back in my, kind of like enjoy the fruits of my labor type of thing, where I'm in this not fight or flight, I'm in peace, I'm calm, but I'm still a boss because I can't not be, right?
Yeah.
And just doing everything with intention and leading with passion.
Okay, so what does it mean soft?
Compassionate.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Compassionate, approachable. I feel like in the past I've been very unapproachable, I've been intimidating and all these things. And I understand that it has nothing to do with me and it has how other people perceive me, which is fine. But I want to be approachable. I want to be, if you were to ask people, oh, like, what do you think of Karina? The first thing people are going to say is, oh, she's a badass. Oh, she's a badass, which is great.
Yeah.
But I'm not the nice girl. I'm not the, oh my gosh, she's the sweetest girl. Like, I don't think anyone has ever.
When people think of you, they just think of like the boxing gloves and like, bam, bam.
Yeah. And just like, and which is, they're not bad things. I'm not like taking away. I love that people, don't say bad things about me, but I kind of want to be like, like, oh, she's the sweetest. Like, she's nice.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have it in me.
She really cares.
Yeah. And I do. I'm just not like known as
Maybe this is too personal, but like, what do you think your son would say?
my kids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No,
You don't have to answer that if you don't want to, but I was just
No.
thinking like, you said people, and I'm like, you are the mother of your son.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, moms like have to be tough, but also loving. So like, how would you?
Oh my God, you're going to make me cry. What's going on?
I mean, there's just so much to that.
Yeah, no. Oh my gosh, what's going on? No,
I'm
my
sorry.
kids. No, it's fine. I just feel like my kids see me that way as well. Like very like, I'm the mom and the dad. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I want them to see me like I don't want them to think that my mom was strong. I want them to like, yeah, my mom made it happen, but she was also very loving.
Aw.
And I don't feel like I've been that way with them because I've had to be strong. So I feel like this year coming into like, what are you doing to me? This was supposed to be about real estate and stuff.
It really has taken a whole nother route.
Seriously.
My goal is just to
wow.
make people cry.
I love it. No, I just that's like also what it is. Just coming back into that just nurturing, like woman, like nurturing mode.
And like, to all the single moms out there, like,
Oh my
there
gosh,
is no
yes.
harder job than that.
You have to be
And
everything all the time.
It doesn't, like, physically, time-wise, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's so hard. And, throwing in my projects that I have to do because of my ADHD, and we got a dog this year. It's just like so many things. And it's hard. You have to be everything all the time. If I'm not doing real estate, then that's fine, but I'm never not a mom.
Yeah.
And so it's like, even when they go to their dads, a couple times when they do it, like they're still here. I'm still, what are you guys
Yeah.
doing? Have you guys ate? Are you guys good? Even though I'm physically not having to like provide
Watch
for them.
them. You
Yeah.
still-
Oh, yeah. It doesn't
And
make-
that alone shows me that you are that soft, like, kind
Yeah.
person as well.
It's in here somewhere. I just got to take the boxing gloves off and shed all the layers of everything I have been for the last 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've taught a lot of real estate. I've mentored a lot of the great
You've mentored
agents
so many
today.
people.
Yeah, I have. And which is great. That's the strong me. That's my armor. I put it on every single morning and I'm like, all right, let's do this. And by armor, I mean makeup and hair. You know what I mean? But I'm ready to just kind of let that go and like not care anymore of what people think of me, if I'm the badass, if I'm this, if I'm that. Just like, I don't care.
Wow. I think it's safe to say this is going to be your best year yet.
I think so. Safe to say, yeah.
I'm excited for you. I really am. I feel like this is just like really cool to hear, and also like what a huge realization to make this year.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to go back to this because it's January 2nd.
Uh-huh.
So in December, I'm going to come back and watch this and be
Yep.
like, wow, I said that. Like I did it.
Yeah. And it will be interesting to see like how the whole year pans out.
This is kind of, I feel like this right here, like doing this podcast. I mean, you called me, yesterday and was like, let's do this. I feel like that's also like setting the tone for
I think
the year.
it's like very interesting that the last 2 weeks of the last year, we kind of like slow down. And some people slow down, relax, and just kind of like sit.
Yeah.
But I think there are other people that slow down and reflect.
Yeah.
And when you reflect, you actually are more honed for the next year.
100%.
It's like sharpening your blades.
Yeah.
Because there's like, the story is like, if you're always cutting, you're not actually going to be the most effective.
Yeah, you're not using it.
It's those that like sharpen the blade and then cut, sharpen and cut. So like this was like our sharpening.
Oh yeah, I'm ready to cut.
And now it's time to cut.
Softly.
Yes, soft with love. Oh my gosh.
Cut soft with love. We'll figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah, that I can't wait to see what that looks like.
I'm gonna create it. I don't know. You'll see. I don't know.
Okay, well, the only thing I want to end with is I better get tickets to the next match.
Oh, I got you. Definitely.
Hopefully it's not against me because I will lose.
I don't know.
She's gonna take anybody. Jake Paul, maybe.
Jake Paul. Oh my gosh. Mike Tyson. Give me Mike Tyson.
She's gonna. I don't know if he's gonna be doing another one of those.
That's why I wanted.
It's like a grandpa. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Sorry that we didn't get to hear all your questions.
No, we're gonna have you again. I think like in the end, like we should just have you again. Here with Brad. What's the last name?
Gould.
Brad Gould. He is our rookie interviewer today. Super happy to have you on the podcast. We met maybe like 2 months ago, right?
Not even like a month, probably.
Okay, a month ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So it's been a month, and then we met like very relatively soon to when you started real estate.
Yeah, about half a month into my real estate career.
Okay, so that means you've been in real estate a total of a month and a half.
Yeah, give or take a little bit, but yes, sir.
That is amazing. Okay, so how has it been so far?
Ups and downs. I've told everybody, do you want me to move this up?
Yeah, you can move it as close as you want. The closer it is, the more like crisp the quality will be.
Crisp quality here.
Yeah, we want crisp quality. But yeah, wait, so tell me how it's been. A month and a half in real estate. I bet for many of the people that watch, this is just like a very fresh thing. And so it's exciting, right? And
Yeah.
many people probably remember the first like month, 2 months, year even in real estate. What does it look like for you so far?
For me, I was working at a bank beforehand, and every day was, I'd say, gray. Now you'd have issues where there's light gray and dark gray, and then jumping into real estate, it is complete black and white. There's probably no gray. You have the ups and then you have the downs, and I think that just relates to life. You know, life shouldn't be about living in the gray. Shouldn't be about here's the same old routine. Here's what we always do. So that's I love it. It sucks, but it's awesome is what I keep telling people.
Whoa. Okay. So define what is the gray? What does that mean?
It's just living in the same kind of walking on a treadmill. You know, when you walk on a treadmill, you're in the same spot. You're just walking forward. You're looking at the screen, whatever it's saying. But when you go hike a mountain, that's completely different.
Yep.
When you're running on the street, it's completely different. You know, a car might hit you, or you get to see the sunrise in the morning. You know, you get to live life. You're not.
So would you say your real estate career the first month has been like a car hit you?
I think I was getting pulled by a car, hit by a car, but ups and downs, yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's amazing. So it sounds like when you're defining the gray, you're defining it as progress. The
No.
gray is the anti-progress,
Yes.
basically.
Gray is just being okay with mediocre.
Yes. And so real estate, you said, has been black and it has been white, which is an interesting conversation because a lot of times in a job, you know exactly what you need to do. And people define easy decisions as black and white. But you're defining real estate as black and white. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Black and white, let's say white is good or black is good. So white's good. And when you get that deal under contract, when they accept the offer and you're happy and everything's great. It's not great because you're feeling really happy, you're really excited about this, and then maybe something comes up in the inspection where it's a major issue, or you're in the middle of getting their loan approved and there's something that just happened where they can't get in the home right now, or family issue. So you just had this huge high of in the white or in the black, and then complete opposite of, hey, this deal's not going to work out right now.
Yeah.
So you're in the you're in the complete other color. So
Yeah.
it could be whatever two colors you want, but the gray is just you're not experiencing that. You're not experiencing the ups and downs. Yeah, you might have a frustrating day at work, like at the bank. Definitely had frustrating days at work, but when you think about it, it's like, oh well, this was just a little darker gray.
Yeah.
This was just a little bit worse than my usual day. Or a really good day, helping clients. I love helping clients, and you help a client with something really important, but it's still just light gray because that was 2 hours of your day, while the other 6 were
Whatever.
gray. Yeah.
Yeah. Was just like kind of cruising instead of like taking charge.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
That's amazing. Okay, so you talk about so many experiences that you've had in just the first month. So have you made any transactions? Have you gone through that process yet?
Yeah, so I've closed one deal. I'm under contract on my second deal. First one went relatively smoothly. It was I still learned a lot. But this second deal, definitely the ups and downs of the industry have hit hard. But you really take the time to, how are you going to help your client? Maybe it's not best for you. You're taking that step back and, okay, maybe it's not and then we almost put a halt to the whole thing. Like,
Wow.
what's the best thing for the client? And that's what's you could look at it selfishly, do the best thing for the client. That's a repeat customer. That's a referral. Or you do the best things for you. You close the deal right away, but that's not, they might not come back to you. The 2 clients I've helped, they've bought homes before.
Yeah.
They're not first-time home buyers. So there was a real estate agent who helped them who honestly failed. And that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to lifelong relationships. That's what I'm doing with my clients. If I need to provide so much value that I'm with them throughout their life, that's why I wanted to get in this too. Working at the bank, you're only there when they walk in the bank.
Yeah.
I can,
Treat them anyhow
Yeah.
and you'll never see them again.
Yeah, no, and in real estate, this is a lifelong relationship. I'm wishing them Merry Christmas. I know where they're going for the holidays. I know, what their kids like to do. I really enjoy it, but black and white.
So I'm going to retroactively ask you a question based on what you just said because it's so good, but I wanted to be like really aggressive when I ask the question. So I'm going to ask you the question. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
And you already answered it, but I'm just going to ask it. So many agents think it is impossible to close a transaction within the first year. That's it. And then it's going to go into you being like, I close the first, and it's going to be like, you've only been in 1 month. That's what that bit will be. So 2025, what does it look like for you? What do you see yourself accomplishing? You've had 1 month in this business already, but what does the next 12 months hold for you? How are you going to continue?
Well, I think I need to learn first. I want to be humble in my experience. I am only 2 months in. So I need to take a step to just learn more about long-term market. I can look at the market right now and I can give you what's going on. But if I'm going to help, for example, like an investor, work with more high net worth individuals, I need to be able to understand the market for a long-term period of time.
To make sure that you're getting them that investment
Yeah.
that is actually going to benefit them 10 years, 15 years from now.
Exactly. So I need to take some time to understand long-term market play, but I also want to dominate the real estate industry. I want to be in that top 1%. That's
Yes.
why I wanted to be on this podcast.
I love it.
Yes, sir. Top 1% here, but that's the goal. How many people can I help? How many transactions can I close? How can I gain knowledge? How can I beat every other realtor in the industry?
Yes. So we'll call you the top 1% rookie right now.
Top 1% rookie. So let me close this deal. And everybody said, the warning was, you got to have 3 months saved. Like, be ready 3 months. You're not going to get anything for 3 months.
Wow.
So getting that first deal has really brightened up the picture a little bit. The second deal, hopefully we're closing here in the next week or two.
Wow.
So we're rolling here, and
Wow.
we got third one in the back pocket, but we're trying our best. And luckily I got a good team leader,
Yes.
Tyler. So
Tyler's the man. Tyler actually is the one that referred Brad to be on the show today. So Kudos to him. But that is amazing. I'm just blown away. I'm just blown away that you've like been able to accomplish so much. What would you say is the single most important thing in your success in these first 2 months?
Relationships.
Okay.
I think there's an issue with me leaving the bank with trying to reach out to some people that I helped at the bank. Not like, hey, you come work with me, I'm in real estate. Just, I wrote probably my top 50 clients at the bank. I thank you cards saying, hey, thanks for trusting me with your banking needs. If you ever need help, I'm in real estate now. Please reach out.
Wow.
But some people had a little bit of an issue with that. So like my SOI, which I thought would be 50 people from the bank, you could say 20 people from my family, from 70 went back to like 30.
Interesting.
So it's not been really SOI. It's I've door knocked, I've cold called expireds, I've called leads. It's attacking the market in every way possible. I haven't dialed it in, and you'll talk to any of the experts that come in and they say, well, I have these two things that I do, and I am really great at these two things. I'm still trying to find out what
your niche is.
Yeah, what that is. So I'm helping anyone and everyone at the moment, and I'm loving it.
Yeah. I think the number one thing for you right now, and like the niche that you have that any rookie should have, is that monster mentality of just attacking everything you see, right? Just like going for it. Door knocking, I'm going to try it. I'm going to write letters. I'm going to reach out through text. I'm going to send emails. I'm going to go social media. I'm going to make social media. I'm going to come on a podcast. Whatever it is, you're trying to open up every single door you can. Do you feel like you've been able to do that, or how do you feel like you've approached that?
Slowly and surely. I mean, we're climbing a mountain right now, and I want to dominate the real estate game. And if you think about it, 1 year in, and I think a stat that I saw the other day was 47% of realtors didn't close a deal last year.
Wow.
Don't quote me on that, but
we're quoting it.
But I mean, I was in the industry for a month and a half, and I closed a deal, which is, I believe in God, so thanks to God.
Yes.
I think if what I dream of, what I imagine, and what you set your goals to be, as long as you work hard and have faith, you can accomplish it. So that's kind of where I'm at, is outwork everyone, have the faith. And if, like you said earlier, if the new agents are hungry enough, are willing to put in the work, are willing to try different avenues like cold calling or door knocking, they might experience some success.
I love that. To end off, as a last question, you played football before you were a real estate agent and before you did banking, right? Who did you play for again?
Southwest Minnesota State. Nice.
That's awesome. So what would you say is the single most important goal you ever set?
Well, at Southwest Minnesota State, I started as a freshman.
Wow.
So my goal my senior year was to start as a freshman. But why? And that's pretty crazy. I know it's Division II, but if you think of an offensive tackle, that my position, usually you weigh 300 pounds. Usually you start your junior, senior year.
Yeah.
I weighed 260, and I started as a freshman. And to give even a little bit more background, my senior year in high school, I played for Bishop Gorman High School.
Oh, wow.
My senior year, I had a torn labrum.
Oh, my gosh.
My junior year, I broke my ankle. I was second string on my senior year, so I didn't play any starting snaps my senior year.
Wow. So how did you make that transition, or like what would that journey look like from?
Well, the competition was good at my high school, so if there's anything wrong, they weren't going to put you in. But I went that summer before my senior year, before I tore my labrum, I was at football camps. So I went to all these football camps. That's how I was seen. Got a lot of offers, or got some offers from those football camps, and went my senior year, and most people, well, how's this guy going to play college football?
Yeah.
And while people are thinking, why does this guy even think he can go play college football? I'm saying, not only am I going to play college football, I'm going to start as a freshman.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
That's amazing. So I feel like to just close off, that manifestation and like setting that goal drives you there.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Well, as a freshman, you don't go until August, while all the seniors and juniors are there in June. So I was June, July, May, just living at home. And I was telling myself this, but also my dad. So it was probably once a day that either from myself or from my dad that I heard, you were going to start as a freshman.
You were just pounding it in.
Yeah, and that's whatever your goal is, if it's real estate, if it's insurance, if it's the bank, whatever it is, that should be your goal, what you tell yourself every single day. I'm not a huge visualized person. Like, I don't just sit there and visualize. There's something to be said about working for something with like determination of like nobody can believe, and then doing it.
Picking something that people think that you're kind of crazy to even say, and just making it happen.
One of my favorite quotes, I actually have this, you can ask Tyler. It's in our office here. It says, the difference between the impossible and the possible is personal determination.
I love that. And that's it. I mean, in the end, like, all you can do is like put in your own effort.
Yeah. What are you determined to do?
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thanks for inviting me. I'll be in the 1%. This will be a different podcast.
We might interview him again in like a year or two, and we'll see where he's at.
In a year.
Yes, in a year. I love it. All right. What's up, Landon Powell? How we doing?
Good. How are you, Peter? Appreciate you having me.
One and only Landon Powell, basically pulling the whole Perry Group on his back.
Far from it. Far from it. That would be quite the task with the Perry Group.
But we are going to talk about the Perry Group today. We're going to talk about results and resolutions.
Awesome.
Initially, this podcast was supposed to be before the New Year's, but we are only the day after, right?
Yeah, we're just getting going.
So it's January 2nd when this is being filmed. But we are still having plenty of time to go over what kind of goals we set, what resolutions the top agents in Utah Valley are setting to differentiate themselves in 2025. Excited to have you today.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here.
This is going to be awesome. So there's a few questions, obviously, we're going to get into, but what do you see so far for 2025? Like, immediately off the top of your head, we just had an election, right?
Yep.
How do you see things going in real estate? There's been so many predictions, and some things have pulled through, but maybe not as strong as we expected.
Yep.
There's so much going on. How do you feel like, how many years have you been in real estate?
I've been in real estate for 8 years now.
Let's freaking go. That's awesome.
I've seen a few of the ups and downs so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with 8 years of vision, how do you look, like 8 years of history, how do you look towards the future year, and what do you see?
I think for me, I see 2025 as a year to kind of rebuild, right? Okay. We've been in this weird slump the last couple of years, I feel like, real estate as a whole. And I feel like the tide is turning a little bit into 2025. Like you said, I don't think it's going to accelerate as fast as a lot of us were hoping, but I think that's actually going to be a good thing, right? It's going to be more of a base builder year to maybe ramp up to hopefully 2026 is massive, right? I think something's going to pop off. I don't know when it's going to be, but I think 2025 is going to be kind of the base to that.
Yeah. I think it's like, in a lot of people, it is the beginning of the change of a mindset.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I think like people have been kind of like doomsaying and doomsdaying for like the last few years since 2020. And now I feel like 2025 just has a different energy going into it where there's a lot more hope and a lot more positivity, and people are all thinking that things are going to go better, which typically results in some kind of change.
Well, and that's kind of the cycle, right? I think with real estate, we've seen the cycles now being in this 8 years. You know, there's cycles that turn over. I think we're finally turning over from a little bit of the downward cycle we were in.
So what year out of these last 8 years would you say real estate was the most different, or like the most like contrasting compared to like what the market has usually been?
I mean, COVID was insane.
Yeah.
Right. Being an agent through the COVID times was crazy. That was so different than anything I had seen, that anybody had seen in the entire industry. I mean, that really changed the whole world, let alone the real estate industry. But real estate was impacted a lot. So I think COVID really sets the bar for a year that was just, in 2 years, that was just insane. Like there was nothing like it. And I don't think we'll ever see anything like it again.
Yeah. So what do you think inspired that change? And like, why was that year the way it was? And maybe you can also walk us through how that year was like special. Was it good, bad? Was that much transactions and that much like happening healthy for the market in total over the last like few years, or like how has that impacted?
I mean, I think it was healthy for a lot of people in a sense that there was so much money coming into the marketplace, right? But I think it also impacted real estate because people were stuck at home. People were realizing, oh, I hate living in my house because I'm stuck here and I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
So I think people were taking a little more consideration into where they actually wanted to live. I mean, the whole remote work thing really changed things, right? People are like, oh, I don't have to live in the city 10 minutes away from downtown. I can go live out in an urban area, enjoy some space, and still work from home. So I just think there was so many things, and real estate was kind of affected by all of it, which was kind of crazy to see it all transpire. But I think rates should have never been as low as they were, right? I mean, it stimulated the market so much. I mean, the amount of equity people are getting, like I said, for some people it was great. But if you didn't take advantage of that opportunity, you're really kicking yourself right now.
Yeah.
So there's one camp that's going to say it was terrible because they didn't get in and get a piece of the pie. But I also think there's a huge camp that, I mean, it really leveled up a lot of people's lives and some of the equity that was gained and some of the moves they were able to make. Yeah.
So for people trying to get into it now, what do you say? I'll rephrase that. For people trying to get into real estate now, looking back at 2020 and the interest rates, how do you...
Like as a homeowner?
How do you help them as a homeowner to see this as like a positive thing?
Yep. I think it's you just got to get in, right? You got to jump in the pool.
In the end, the water's cold, but you still got to jump in.
You got to jump in because everything's hindsight, right? When you look at it with Bitcoin, you look at it with anything, it's like, oh man, I wish. It's like, well, you're going to be doing that in 10 more years too. You're going to wish you would have got in. So I think it's one of those things that you just have to enter the market. Luckily, real estate's one of those trends that's always going to be on an uptick. It might have some downs here and there, but it's going to overall trend upwards just because of the growth and everything that's happening. So I think you gotta get in.
You gotta jump in. I think that honestly, I could have not said it better. And I think one of the things that the team that you're part of is doing really well is connecting with a lot of the builds that are happening. Yeah. Because that's where I feel like the surefire easiest way to see what's happening in the market is what are people investing millions of dollars in. Yeah. And there's all these new builds, right? Like Utah Valley is expanding, it's growing. Yeah. And so it is, I feel like what you said is like, it's time to get a piece of it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and we're in a housing shortage still, right? And
so how does that work? Like, what does that even mean? When people say we're in a housing short, what does it mean when we say we're in a housing shortage. What does it mean when we say we're in a housing shortage?
It just means there's not enough supply to provide to the amount of demand in the marketplace. It's a little different. Like our market and our inventory has definitely gone up, but we're still short supply, right? Like I think we only have right now, I should have checked my stats before this, but a healthy market a healthy market is 6 months of inventory, right? And we've been way below that for a very long time. I mean, during COVID times, we had like under 2,000 homes in the entire state of Utah available for sale, right? When we're selling 4,000 to 6,000 a month, and there's only 2,000 available, right? Like you can see where it creates that problem. And right now we're about 10,000 homes for sale. So but again, it's still, once we hit about 16,000 homes for Utah, that's a balanced market, right? So we're still a little bit of ways from a balanced market. We're still in a seller's market, but affordable.
It just means, so I love what you just said. Seller's markets, buyer's markets. What is that metric?
So it all boils down to inventory, right? If we have too much inventory, that creates a buyer's market because buyers can get aggressive. Homes are sitting for a very long time. When we have a shortage of inventory, we're in a seller's market, which we're still in right now. I mean, the average days on market, right, today is 60 days on market
Yeah.
in Salt Lake County, which seems like forever to a lot of people that, again, experienced a few years ago.
If you don't mind me asking really quick, do you know the stats on how long your houses typically are or your listings are typically on market?
It depends on the type of home, but I would say typically about 30 days on market for the last year would have been my average. So
Wow,
yeah,
that's crazy.
not too bad.
That is amazing. So obviously you can't get too caught up on statistics because in the end you're dealing with people.
Yep.
You're dealing with buyers and sellers,
Yep.
and those are actually people. So how do you keep that in mind while still being very aggressive and helping your clients twice as fast as anybody else?
I think it's just presenting data, right? Knowing your numbers, knowing the data, because we just came out of a time where you could kind of put your house up. Let's see how things could. Let's see what happens, right? That was a very common conversation that was happening. Was let's put it up and see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, those days are kind of gone, right? So if you don't have somebody that knows their numbers and can actually give you good advice of where you should list your home or where is its true market value, then you're going to ruin a lot. You're going to waste a lot of days on market until you come to the realization that, oh, we missed the mark. And then you have to adjust. So some people, it takes them 30 days to realize they're, not priced correctly, and then starts their real-time clock of actual market value. So if you can start from the get-go at market value and, be able to give that message to your sellers and make them understand where their home is actually worth, then that really changes the game.
That is insane. Honestly, one of the craziest things is like most people see you as this like social media powerhouse, but they don't realize that there's all this data behind like what you're doing and what you're saying. Even dealing with like working with you in social media videos, I see the amount of work that you put into it to actually add meaning and value and not just throw money at social media, but to make it the best it can possibly be.
Yep.
And I think that just goes in ties with what you're saying about like having data and like making it better. The trickiest thing with placing people's house prices is the conversation.
Yeah.
How do you adjust maybe the perception of what they think their house should be worth?
I think the biggest fear agents have with that is they're scared they're not going to get the listing. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down to is people are like, I'll just do whatever the seller says because I have to have this listing. And that's where a little bit more experience comes into play and knowing that like, hey, if they don't want to price it correctly, it's actually not good for me because I don't want to put a house on the market that's not going to sell.
Yeah.
Or that's priced way out.
Because
So
it
it's
is true. Everybody looks at you.
Yep. Having those conversations, I think sellers really respect that, right? So when you come to them and you're honest, I think they actually see that and they respect it because they realize that you're not just doing whatever they say and you're just so excited to get a listing that you're like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, let's do that. No, I actually do have some education. I actually do know what's going on in the market and I can help you actually get this sold. Because at the end of the day, that's the result you want. You don't want to just put your house up. You want it to sell.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. So what would you say is like the sweet spot for days on market? Because obviously you put something up, it feels so justifying to have it sell immediately.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Is that the best case scenario though? I'm actually really curious.
It kind of seasonal when that comes to that too, right? Like I think if you and sometimes it's funny, sellers, if they get an offer first weekend, then they're having the conversation of, oh, did we price it too low, right? So I do believe that real estate is a lot about timing.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, especially when you get in a market where there's options. As our inventory starts to rise, people have options. It's all timing. So I mean, the sweet spot's always first weekend open house to get an offer. That's ideal. I think that makes everybody happy. But if you can get a house sold in a month, I think you really nailed it.
Wow. That's awesome. So what is your strategy looking like when you have an offer the first week? What do you do? What do you tell the clients if they feel like maybe the house wasn't priced right or they want to take it and it's priced way too low?
I think that's going back to making sure my clients have trust in me and knowing that the conversation we had up front when I was taking the listing, that they had full confidence in that decision, right? That way, when we get the offer, they feel good about it. And it's kind of like hey, we nailed it. Like, awesome, good teamwork. Like we did it rather than, oh no, you priced this low to try and get this sold. Right? And all that boils down to trust in my eyes.
No, it's 100% true. It's like if you prep them being like, if we price it like this, there's a high chance we're going to get offer the first weekend. That's planned. Like I planned that into my strategy so that we would get something like that. Maybe we can start a bidding war with it.
And at the end of the day too, I give them options, right? But I have to make sure I lay out what I truly believe their house is worth. But it's their money, right? It's their equity. It's not my money to make these decisions. So I'll tell them and give them my advice where I think it's supposed to be listed. If they want to list it higher, I'm willing to do that. But it makes that conversation when it's time to do a price reduction much easier when I've already prepped them that, hey, okay, we're going to try here, but if we don't get the activity we want, we're going to have to revisit, and you're going to have to lean on me a little bit more of where
I love that. So communication is key in this. What does too much communication look like with your clients?
I just think,
have you ever maybe, and like, I would love, this is like all about results, resolutions. You've had 8 years of business. You've done a lot right because you're still here, but maybe you've seen a time when you communicated too much or not enough. What does that look like?
I think that's a good point. So there has been times where I think I've communicated too much, and so our job in a transaction is to take the emotion out of it, right? And I think there's been times where maybe the other agent wasn't fun to deal with, or there was altercations, and maybe I over communicated some of those things, and maybe I raised the emotions of my clients when that wasn't my job, right? Like I need to keep that stuff to myself and make sure I'm getting my client their desired result and not getting their emotions worked up. Because the last thing I want is a client to not want to move forward or not want to work with somebody else because of an altercation I had with another agent. So that's just one example. But it's just giving them the information they need to know. And me really just doing my job behind the scenes. And obviously if there's important information, my clients are going to know. But there's a lot of fires I can put out before I have to go to them.
And if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to ask one last question. This has been such a good conversation. Really, like, honestly, I did not expect it to take this like analytical route. I expected to just talk about something completely different, but we just let the conversation flow the way it flowed. If you wouldn't mind restating this question when I ask it, it's not that difficult of a question, but I totally forgot it. Wow. I just had it and it's gone.
Oh no.
I think it was
coming back. It's coming back.
It is back.
It's back.
It's back. Remind me what you just said. Oh, altercations, right?
Yeah.
And communication with your clients.
Oh,
I had it. Oh, how much would you say, what percentage would you say real estate, selling your house, buying a house is emotional versus anything else? And what percentage would you say that other thing is?
It's a tricky question. I'm like trying to put it together here.
My thought would be like, from a point of view of a seller, how much emotion do you see them place on their decisions?
A lot, because it's their home, right? When you think about it, and a lot of that plays into why they're moving, right? Is this a life event? Is it a divorce? Is it they need to downsize for physical reasons? Is it a job transfer, right? So a lot of these emotions come into play because sometimes they don't want to move, right? Or they've lived in this house for 20 years and all their memories are there. Their kids, they raised their kids there. They got married and moved in there. Like there's just so many things that I think a lot of people don't realize that charges these emotions, and it is a big deal. And I think some agents don't realize it either, right? Like you have to understand, some clients, you'll hear agents complain about difficult clients. It's like, because this is their life that they're, their life memories that they're letting go of, and there's a lot happening. So it's making sure you have the ability to really resonate with them too, and put yourself in their position so that you can help them through it and get to the other side.
Do you ever feel like, sorry, just to finish off, do you ever feel like a psychiatrist or like an emotional doctor?
I think I've gotten my certification 10 times already in the last 8 years. I think that's mostly my job, and I think I do a little bit of real estate on the side.
That's amazing. No, really though, because it seems like when I've seen that other side of agents dealing with clients, not dealing, that's a bad word, working with clients, it is working with those emotions. Don't you think?
For sure, 100%. And it's being able to not let your own emotions get in the way, right? And that's where real estate gets tough because, and I think that's why real estate agents get a bad name, right? Because there's commission involved. And there's, so a lot of times if you let your emotions get away, because maybe sometimes you don't know what that agent's going through either, right? Maybe he needs that commission check. And if a deal's about to blow up over emotion, right? Like there's a lot happening. So it's just making sure you can stay grounded and do what's best for your client, no matter what the circumstances.
And it is so interesting. This is something that like fighting against the grain, real estate agents have to do even more now with the new like NCAR settlement. Is the whole fact that every transaction, there's a salesman behind it. Every single transaction. But real estate is the only one where you know the commission.
For sure.
And so because that everybody knows how much you're making off their house, there's all that like, that's like that perception that you have to constantly work against to prove trust, build communication. I love it.
No, 100%. You nailed it.